Isn't
I just
only
went
the,
loud.
thank you.
Okay, all
Got
right.
it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I suck
Anyway.
as a volunteer administrator.
No, it's fine. Anyway, that's what, I like the movie. I think it's one of his best, Woody Allen's best. And I just love the themes in it. What I like is it's not a Hollywood ending, but it is. I mean, luck had so much to do, and how much does luck have to do with everyone's life? So that's, yeah.
I like the
what do you
scene where the ring bounced off the railing next to the
Right.
river. That was
Yes.
excellent. One
And
thing I thought
When I
is,
saw that, I thought
What's
that
that?
was going to be his undoing, because somebody was going to find it and it had his fingerprints, but no, it was just the guy's so lucky. So
that's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
And
Uh,
it connects to the tennis theme at the beginning,
Yeah,
where the
exactly.
tennis
Yeah.
ball can go either way,
Right,
and whether
right.
you're lucky or not. Yeah.
I did think of the movie Crimes and Misdemeanors that he did, where
Yes.
the main actor in that movie also got away with whacking his mistress as
Right.
well, which kind of makes me wonder about what's going on. Well, I think we know what's going on in Woody Allen's mind, but I mean, there's 2 movies that he's responsible for where the guy gets away for whacking his mistress.
Yeah, he gets away with anything because of his position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone?
Well, I was thinking about the music too, and while that scene was going on, it was Othello and Iago. Iago was, of course, one of the worst villains in Shakespearean drama, and I thought that kind of fit in a way, and
Yes.
that they were all kind of tragic sounding operas. I don't know opera well enough to really be able to distinguish one from the other, but I could look that one up and find out a little bit. And I know enough about Othello that
Right.
Iago was an arch villain and just a horrible character. So that kind of fit into there.
Right.
I agree with everything you said. I think that luck played a huge part in this, and that people have this sort of random experience, and he orchestrated that very effectively. He was clever about stealing the shotgun, and he got things in and out of there. He had the advantage of this enormous house that he could kind of skulk around in and do things without his other family members knowing what he was up to. And of course he played tennis, so he could put everything in a tennis bag. He just had it all worked out, and it was. I was trying to figure out at what moment did he make the decision that that's what he was going to do, and I can't really come up with that.
Well, I thought is that after she had, Nola had finally said, if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her, that one. And he said, I was going to tell her tomorrow. And he gets up in the middle of the night. And I think he's got a great face, because I see, it looks to me like he's in the middle of the night, sitting on the edge of the bed. His wife is sleeping peacefully next to him. And he's like thinking, what? Yeah, to me, that was when it was formulated in his mind that, okay, I've made the decision that I got to get rid of Nola. And this is, and that, to me, that's when it started.
When she showed up at his work, I think that's when he decided he's going to get.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, you're right. That was
That's a
really
deal breaker right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. It's kind of like Fatal Attraction. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that may have started him down that line, but I agree with Donna on this, that that moment in the bedroom was when it sort of coalesced that she had to go. I agree with you, Pete. Showing up at work was a mortal sin, literally.
Yes.
For her, but I don't think it sort of came together until he thought about it on the side of the bed. Yeah. I kind of really liked the end of this movie. I really liked the end, and I kind of found it a little bit like Woody Allen doing a little homage to Hitchcock with this, just in the
Yeah.
psychological thriller element of it.
Yeah,
So that was my take.
yeah. Yeah, I
like
thought
the-
all the, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I pictured it up here. I like the use of mirrors in this movie. There were several scenes where there was an interaction going on between people, and one of the people was in a mirror. In this case, it was both of them, but I thought that sweeping into this room from the rainy or snowy window and showing this first, and then kind of moving over to the action was very kind of tricky and cool. Use mirrors in a few other instances, and it's a way that movie makers do things sometimes that I really like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as a tennis movie, I thought it was average, but as a psychological thriller, I thought it was better. Now, I'm with Mahoney. I love the idea that, the tennis ball that could go either way, that could determine somebody's success as a professional tennis player. It links all the way to the end. Don talked about it didn't have a Hollywood ending. I wish more Hollywood movies had such a clean, full arc ending where what you see in the beginning somehow plays out and harmonizes with what happens at the end. But I thought the closing of it, the fact that he didn't get rid of the evidence, what turned around to get the police off his trail was masterful. I mean, I don't know if that's his Hitchcockian trick, but and then back to the opera. I think you might be overthinking the idea that what they were singing about in the song parallel to what was going on in the action. I think it was more texture. I just think it was the edge to the song, or the dramatic notes of the song matched, whether they matched what a character was doing versus what a character was doing on screen. But I thought the soundtrack worked and added to the tension, whether they were, specific note for note, person for person, character for character. I think it was, a good soundtrack.
Well, yeah, I agree. Well, when he first had Caruso and it was so scratchy and everything, I thought, and Caruso, I mean, his, even through that scratchiness, he's so emotional. I did start, but after a while, I just was like, I guess I kept on saying, why? And it did. You're right. It does give you that. I guess I liked it better when I would sing it on stage, when it was in the actual opera houses in London. Then I really enjoyed it and liked it. But when it was the background, except for the murder scene, it worked perfectly, I think, because, not that it was connected, but it was such an emotional charged duet and emotion. And he was so emotionally charged. I thought it just worked really well there. More for me, more than anywhere else.
Joan and I watched this. We don't, often watch the League of Unpaid Film Critics movies together.
Yeah.
Because they can be a little eclectic, but we watched this one together. And I asked her this evening, I said, so what's your takeaway? And so we ended up picking the movie apart and trying to figure out where the flaws were. And, I know it's a movie and you just have to kind of assume that certain things are there and don't look too deeply. But the apartment complex where Scarlett Johansson lived was portrayed as a real seedy place. But once you got into this lady's apartment, it was very well appointed. The people that came and went from the apartment were well dressed and they were buttoned up. And if you have an apartment like that, and I live in a high rise, I promise you, if somebody had pulled off 2 giant shotgun blasts, we would know it.
Right.
There were just a couple things that didn't fit.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think after the first shotgun blast, somebody might have called down to the front desk and said, "Excuse me, did somebody just fire a shotgun on the 4th floor?" And police might have been there pretty soon.
Good point. Very
And
good
it was
point.
a sawed-off shotgun, I could tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, before you guys got on the call, it was Donna and Mike and I raised a question about the scene behind me. How in the hell did these two roll around in the rain for God knows how long and just walk in the house without anybody picking up on the fact that they were soaking wet and a bit disheveled, to say the least there. I don't know how they pulled that one off.
It's a big house.
Yeah, yeah. They can run into the restrooms, yeah, or the bathrooms. There's probably 8 or 10 of them in the house.
I had not seen this movie before.
Me
And
neither.
when I did, and I saw this scene, mine is behind me, where he's reading Dostoevsky's The Crime and Punishment, I thought he is going to kill someone. Because that's what
Really interesting.
that's what that book is all about. And it's the
Yeah.
horrible, at first, he's so smart because he's getting rid of this unscrupulous pawnbroker who lives in this building near his. And he's doing it because he wants to get money from her and become rich, and he's tired of being poor. And so he kills her. But then from that point on, staying ahead of the police and all that sort of thing just drives him fucking crazy. And he's just racked with guilt. And I didn't see that so much. This character was racked with guilt. He seemed pretty slick. But it did let me think that. But then, you know, of course, a couple of scenes later, Brian Cox is saying, well, the boys, you know, he's got something on him. We had a discussion about Dostoevsky yesterday afternoon.
Yes, yeah.
He was using it to try to impress people. But I think he was also following it for how to get away with the murder, even though the character that
Interesting.
did not. Gave him a few
Yeah.
ideas, perhaps.
But doesn't Dostoevsky end with like guilt and God and
Oh yeah,
and of course
and he gets caught.
because he walks away and it's, you know, nothing. Yeah. Interesting.
But again, Woody Allen.
Yeah,
was
well,
amazing.
yeah, nothing to that point. You know, had they had what, another 20 or 30 minutes of that movie, I'm not saying they should have, but you know, I got to believe that the guilt would have started to erode at him. But it's clearly, you know, not in the movie.
We need a sequel. We need a Marvel comic sequel.
Well, I
was
think,
on-
you know, the time it really, from the time of the murder until the time when the baby is born, isn't that about, wouldn't you say about 6 months or so? Because
Yeah,
She's-
every bit of that. I mean, just in my mind, I thought, well, 9 months, but it probably wasn't. But yeah, it was a bit of a period.
yeah, and so it's just all of it. He kills his child when he kills Nola, and now he has a child. You know, all of that, you would think that should affect him. Does it? Mm.
I
Seems
mean,
pretty cool.
as time
Yeah.
passed and it was pretty clear he was going to get away with it, he just
Yeah,
moved
just
on.
let it go. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
The way the ball bounces.
Yeah,
or the
That's
ring
right.
suspends
Or the
in
ring.
midair.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
other thing I found odd, and it was just odd, it doesn't really pertain to the movie at all, but the two detectives that were working there, and I know they were working at Scotland Yard, blah, 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 all that. But I mean, they really sounded like rural Scotsmen, or clearly Scott, you know, obviously
Yeah.
not the English. And I don't know why how that played in there, but that struck me almost off the first time I heard him talk in the film about, okay, these guys are true Scots. This is a Scottish dialect here, not any you know, English dialect whatsoever.
Huh. Well, yeah, I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't think it plays anything in the story. It just sort of struck me a little bit. That's all.
I wonder what you said the budget was 15 million. What was Scarlett Johansson and Brian Cox worth at the time? I mean, what would have
well, you know,
She was, I
Scarlett
looked up, she was
Johansson,
21 years old then.
right, this
She
was
made
like
this
her
movie.
second film with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woody Allen?
yeah. So, and she was, Kate Winslet was supposed to be Nola, and then she got out of it. So she was still pretty unknown,
So she wasn't commanding big bucks.
no.
And
I
Brian
think
Cox
she did
wasn't
that.
a thing.
Pardon me?
Brian Cox was just a character actor. He wasn't a
Right,
lead in a TV.
right. He
superhero.
was in Succession. Yeah. Actually, like I said, that he's the one person I thought was a redeemable character, because all the others, it was like, I could go between Chris not having, any conscience whatsoever, with his wife being the one that kind of thinks nothing of buying her husband, and her father will take care of everything. So she doesn't, it's just that she doesn't have to worry about anything, and she gets what she wants because daddy will buy it for her. Nola, who is, again, why any American actress would go to London to become to try to be an actress is beyond me. Why, there's nobody in London is going to go for an American actress unless there's a specific part for an American. I mean, it just made no sense to me why she would do that. Tom was kind of a twit. He was like, had no idea what was going on. He was obviously manipulated by, Tom was manipulated by Nola. She is with him like Chris is with his wife. They're just there for the money. That's what has gotten them there. There's no love. I mean, or it just seems so superficial, I guess. And again, and the mom being such a snob, again, I like the dad seemed to me to be the best character of all of them.
What problem did you had with the brother who dumped Nola?
Well, I had, because he kind of was, not that he just didn't know what was going on. I mean, he was being manipulated by her, and he just seemed like
he got rid of her.
Yeah,
yes, he did. Yes, and actually really fell in love. But I think he had, when he had her, he was just like, when you see the scenes with the three of them and the eye contact, I mean, from the very beginning, when you see Nola and Chris meet for the first time, and he slams, they're playing ping pong, he slams the ball, and the first thing that she says is, "Are you my next victim?" That's the first thing she says. Then he slams the ball and shows her, and he's got his arms around her from the moment they meet. And then Tom walks in, and they're so close to each other. And to me, there was like flames running through each other. And Tom just is oblivious to it. And now that's not the first time it happens at the restaurant. The two of them are talking, and you can see the chemistry going on, and Tom is oblivious to it. So that's what, it's not that I didn't like him. I just thought he was kind of oblivious to what was really going on. And finally, he recognizes, I think, when he really does fall in love with someone and not in lust with someone, that he gets rid of her.
See, people that are oblivious, those are my role models. People who those are people I identify with.
Oops. Well,
He was either oblivious or he didn't see him as a threat, or
yeah, that could
or he
be,
didn't care. Maybe he was already starting to sour on her,
Yeah,
Well,
possibly.
Yeah, because their original relationship was teacher to student. The brother just thought this guy was a former tennis player that couldn't make it on the tour, and took a job at, happened to be their club. So I
Yeah.
mean, that relationship started off as
Employer, employee, really, right? The hired
Yeah.
help. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Hired help. Yeah. So,
Was opera that brought them together.
exactly, yeah.
yes, yes, exactly. And
Um,
it's,
Matson called right before we started to say that he had just gotten off the road and was not going to make it tonight. He was unpacking, and so greetings from Matson. He wanted to let you know he was thinking about you, but just couldn't figure out how to get his act together in time to be here.
mm,
Sounded pretty exhausted. I think he'd been on the
Yeah.
road like 16 hours.
oh
Jeez.
my,
Wow.
Yeah.
oh my.
Oh,
And where's Terry?
Last I heard, he was back in Pacific Grove, which is where he's been hanging out lately, but
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, dear. What?
I said, the last thing I heard was he was back in California around Pacific Grove, Monterey Bay, but haven't heard anything.
I see.
How many of us are there? 9?
Yeah, I think
10.
so.
Yeah.
Can we have 10?
So who else
Right
is
now,
missing?
there's
Oh,
7.
Bill. Where's Bill?
He's San Francisco,
Right.
then on to Yosemite for his 70th birthday.
Ah, he's 70. I got to
Yeah.
stop hanging out with you old people.
We're just dragging you
Been thinking
down,
that for
man.
years. Been thinking that for years.
Yeah.
No, one final thing I wanted to say about Woody Allen and his controversies. Somehow he makes a movie almost every year, and he's done
Right.
this for 40 some years. And as long as he can find people that'll finance him, and he often does it in Spain or in Britain or somewhere else because he knows he can't do it in the United States, he can write the whole thing and he can put out a pretty damn good movie. Midnight in Paris was one that Jeff picked a couple of years ago.
One of my favorites.
It's a
I
great
know.
movie, you know?
Great.
And
I
he's-
know. So many are so good and
He's
are
got a
so,
little portable typewriter that he used from our show of shows with Sid Caesar, and he was a writer there. He takes it around with him, and he can, like, he rewrote the script, you said, in a week because he lost his main character. Oh well, you know. So
Yeah.
I give him something for that, whatever
Well,
that is.
I love the fact that it's all based on the script and then it goes from there. There's no CG, there's no special effects, there's
Right.
no superheroes. It's just a great story and easy to watch, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And then
the actors I know have a lot of freedom to he'll say, just make a conversation that ends with us moving to the next scene. However we get to the next scene, you know, and he gives them a lot of liberty to ad lib, but he's got an end point in mind, and he lets them help him get there. I really admire
Yeah.
that.
I do too. I
Terry
think
would-
he's phenomenal. It's just that, yeah,
He's
he's
a
got
rascal.
his,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Terry would appreciate that his whatever gun violence there was, you don't see it. It's off camera. You don't watch somebody have their head blown off,
Right.
get killed,
Right.
and blood gushing out and all that.
He probably would have liked the fact that initially he fumbled there trying to get that shotgun put back together, like maybe it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I know. And I
was
love
kinda
that. That
Hitchcocky
was
in
so
there.
tension building.
I thought the elderly lady was going to come in on him while he was doing that. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
And you could see him shaking and, you know, you can imagine his heart is beating like crazy and he's trying to get it together. And yeah, it
Dropped
was, I
shells on
thought,
the floor. you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
it was,
why he wasn't a great tennis player. If you get down to that match point, you got to keep it cool.
yeah, you
Keep your
can't,
act together.
yeah,
Good fumble.
Exactly. but anyway, it's good film. But I promise the next time I've decided, you know, okay, psychological thrillers, I can get off of that. I'll do something in a different genre next time.
Your pick, you can do whatever you want.
Thank you guys. But it was fun. It was fun. I was glad to see it again. You know, it was it's just a good film. You know.
Mahoney,
I found
Mahoney,
it-
you meant- I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask Mahoney, it's your pick, right?
Yeah.
Mahoney, you mentioned the Scotland Yard guys. The one guy
Mhm.
was, I don't know if you guys recognize him. He was one of the group in Train Spotting.
Yes.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
And the other one was in Waking Ned Devine, who was the guy that
Right,
had
right.
the hots for the guy that needed the fruity soaps to cover up his.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
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 I didn't recognize him in the role from this movie. So
Donna, my only piece of advice is next time, and I know this from the torture that I endured, do not pick Moonstruck. We've already
Okay.
covered that. We've already covered it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Well, actually, Jeff,
Cover that and
I
did not
bet
go
there's
well.
no film of that one, is there?
There
no,
what?
There's no film
No,
of
there's no
the,
video. No.
No video record of that. Right.
Oh, yeah, I would have liked to seen that, huh?
No, you wouldn't have.
I was looking back at an old list that had some of these movies you were just talking about, and among them was Match Point. It was an early side recommendation
Really?
way back.
Wow.
Yeah, 2005, yeah.
who recommended
It's
it?
an old film. Yeah.
I didn't write that down. I just wrote a long list of the recommendations from that day, and Waking Ned Devine was on there, and a couple of the other ones that we just talked about. So it was. I thought sometimes those time capsules are kind of enjoyable. Like, wow, we thought about this a long time ago, and I didn't get around to watching it. So I'm always glad that it came back around.
Yeah. Okay, well then maybe Moonstruck has a second shot.
Consider it a moonshot.
All right, Honus, what you got?
Whit, if you want to put that on video, let's go for it.
What do you got, Honus?
What I got is a Johnny Depp movie that's a little less known. It's a Tim Burton movie, Sleepy Hollow. Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right. Not The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but it's Sleepy Hollow. I think it's 1999, and it's an interesting yarn. It won one Oscar, I think, for not cinematography, but for art direction. It got a number of nominations. It didn't fare well in competition, but it's a pretty colorful and typical Tim Burton horror story. Kind of takes off from the Hammer films from the 50s and 60s a little bit. So thought we'd go back to
Good.
1999, I think it is, for that.
Party like it's 1999.
It's like I saw one picture of the guy that now pretends to rule Britain, and they've got his head on a photoshopped piece of photography that says the artist formerly known as Prince.
Talking about artwork, what did you guys think about the artwork in this movie? There was art everywhere in that rich household.
Yes.
Some of it was pretty strange.
Well, you know, there was that one that had the guy with the shadow, but the shadow didn't match the body. That one was kind of interesting, I thought, because, well, again, connected to the way they were acting, plus the way they were thinking. You know, I mean, I just connected that way. But I loved the art at the Tate Modern. I mean, I thought that was really interesting to have the Tate Modern stuff there. And there was something else, I can't remember. But yeah, I just thought the art was interesting. And
There was, I don't know if it's a Tate Modern or did she open up her own gallery there toward the end? I don't remember,
yes,
but one of the paintings was a picture of yellow overalls. I thought I could do that. I could have painted that. My dog Wally could have painted that one.
But you
Yeah.
have to think about it first.
yes, yes.
And then get somebody to buy it for
$100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we could have used Terry for that. He would have known all that.
Mhm.
All right.
That's right.
Sanders, I'm always interested in your extras. What have you been watching?
I didn't watch much because I went on a trip, you know, and I spent the week getting ready for it and then went on it and just got back myself. So I'm without going through my list here. See if I have some around.
Well, too much travel could disqualify you from this group.
I can see where that would happen. Yeah. Oh, I can see that.
Well, are you on probation and is Mattson about to be on probation?
Yeah, there you go. No, I don't have anything really, but I did want to say that I am watching the Diplomat, and I've just about finished that, and I love that.
I did too.
Anything I could recommend to everybody here that
Yeah.
you will enjoy.
The Diplomat was
The
so
Diplomat
good.
on
I've heard.
Netflix
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very funny as well as interesting, and
Yeah, and makes you think. It's so complicated, you know, the what they go through, and I just thought it was really good. It's done well. So so my husband, there are certain things I have to, some things, films that he won't watch, but some things that I know he liked. And I watched, well, I think you guys have probably already seen it, Reacher. I had read the Lee Child books. Jack Reacher, you know who that is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched it. Mhm.
Yeah, and so I watched Reacher, the not the one with Tom Cruise, but the one where the guy is really 6'5" and the guy is really, you know, a big guy. And you know, Roland liked it, and you know, it's for that genre, it's you know, it's a good story. So, and I had read that book years ago, but I had read that Lee Child book, so it was pretty good.
I started watching White House Plumbers on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
Well, I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah.
The only thing, it kind of bothered me. I haven't watched the whole thing, but it almost came across as the two of them were like caricatures. I didn't get that they were serious. I don't know. There was something that would, and I haven't watched the whole thing, so maybe, you know, I don't know.
I will say, I mean, I've read Will by G. Gordon Liddy, and everything I ever saw, you know, footage of him or heard him talk, he does come off as kind of a buffoon in
Yeah,
this series, which is not how I was ever led to believe. You know, he struck me
No.
as a pretty hardcore, really, really intense guy.
yeah.
And he doesn't come off that, at least so far. I'm only a few episodes in, but I don't know about the Howard Hunt character. I don't have a sense of him, but Gordon Liddy, he is not being portrayed as I have seen him portrayed in the past. Mahoney, you got a take on that?
This is not about Ehrlichman and Haldeman.
No,
Well,
I'm watching it on HBO, and so I've only seen 2 episodes of it.
Same here, yeah.
yeah, me too.
They're dealing with Bud Crow and John Dean at the White House. So I don't know if Ehrlichman and Haldeman will come in later. The stuff I've read about Howard Hunt was he was over the top. He was that's why he sold these dime spy novels pretty well, because he had you know, these outrageous plots that were, you know, more James Bond than CIA and that sort of stuff. And he was regarded as a unstable character, a liability by a lot of people in the intelligence community back in the day.
Was he involved, and not in a good way, but kind of bungled the Bay of Pigs? Was he involved with that? I think there's references to that at the beginning.
Yeah. He was in the CIA, and he was one of these guys that directly blames Kennedy for not following up with the invasion and everything. So,
right.
I mean, I'm sure if you could sit here today, he would probably blame or infer that the CIA might have had something to do with whacking Kennedy because of how Kennedy did not handle the Bay of Pigs invasion very well, and he didn't. But yeah, no, I mean he was regarded as over the top back then as
Well,
well.
I guess it's, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Well, and the whole idea of these guys having to difficulty getting into Daniel Ellsberg's psychiatrist's office, that's true. Okay, that was a pretty fumbled little piece of espionage. They needed multiple times to get in. So I mean, but you're right. There are points in this thing that I mean, it's just laugh out loud that these guys, you know,
Well,
are trying
yeah,
to pull
you
this
know
stuff
what?
off.
I think Woody Harrelson always seems to be mugging, mugging with his chin. I don't know, mugging like, and it just feels like, I don't know. I just take Watergate more serious, at least so. And I'm finding them looking like, I'm not finding them serious buffoons. I'm so far anyway. I'm just finding them just buffoons. I think I read Will 1,000 years ago as well, where G. Gordon Liddy, I mean, my sense of him, someone that eats a rat and does all that stuff, wouldn't be this, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not getting, I'm just not getting the real sense of it yet. But maybe it's only a couple of episodes. Maybe they'll grow on me. Like
Well, I mean,
fungus.
he was never, nobody regarded him as, nobody at the CIA ever picked him for the first team.
Huh. Okay. Well, it's interesting though. It's interesting to see, how they just didn't know what they were doing. Keep going. What is it, like 4 times? They say 4 times before they got into Watergate. Was
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah. I happen to have watched all the President's Men. I don't know, the last 10 days or 2 weeks, and what struck me that I'd forgotten about that movie is the guy that plays the night watchman that discovered the break-in at the burglars at the Democratic headquarters. Was the guy that discovered the break-in, a guy by the name of Frank Wills. So they gave him a little part as being a night watchman.
Yeah.
So I don't think he had to learn any lines.
Yeah.
Pete, you got
Yeah, it's
anything?
good.
Well, I was kind of throwing out that White House Plumbers. That would be my
Okay.
side pick there. I don't have anything else. I am watching Love and Death. That's really interesting, Mike Sanders. I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, I want to. I haven't as yet.
I
Isn't
mean,
that the same movie that, I mean, wasn't there a Woody Allen movie named Love and Death?
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah, but not similar at all, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr.
I'm sure.
Copeland, you got anything?
No, I do not. I'm bereft of recommendations.
You reft.
But
Thanks
not a
for the word
vocabulary.
cloud too, by the way.
Yeah.
It's something to do. Something to do. Jeff Steele, where are you? Or I'm sorry, not Jeff Steele.
Arthur.
Jeff
Are you
Arthur.
doing
Jeff
that Jeff
Arthur?
thing again?
Am I doing what?
That Jeff thing again where you mix Jeffs up?
Yes. I sent an email to the wrong Jeffs. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did we lose Jeff Arthur?
No, he's
I'm
there.
here.
He's there.
He's there.
You got any
Mhm.
picks, Jeff? Any side picks?
I do not have any, no.
So Jeff, did you watch the movie?
Yes, yeah.
And what'd you think?
I like that same kind of genre of film, the crime, noir, erotica kind of, psychological thriller deal. I don't like that actor, the guy who played Chris Wilton.
Oh.
He kind of annoys me, but I'm not sure why, but he does.
Do anyone think he looks like a young Malcolm McDowell? by the way.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
I thought he bared a really strong resemblance to
Yeah,
Clockwork Orange era of Malcolm McDowell, including the lips, Donna. You talked about his
yeah,
lips.
yeah. The
Not that I
lips.
zeroed in on a man's lips, but
I know.
I thought
You zeroed
more
in
of a
on
pepper.
her lips. Yes.
It also kind of went along with one of my pet peeves is about how everything's going along great in somebody's life and they just totally screw it up. But he actually didn't screw it up because he got away with it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Got away with
I
it.
can't imagine anybody shooting Scarlett Johansson, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, yeah, you got to go through the crazy girlfriend experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, when they show up at your office.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad one.
You know, I think there's a remake of, what was the one that, Mike Douglas was in?
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
There's a
Yeah.
remake underway of that.
Yeah, but I don't think it got any good reviews. I might be wrong about that. But it's actually a series or like a number of episodes, I believe.
There
It's
you
not
go.
just a
Boy,
movie.
they all are these days, aren't they? Nobody
Yeah,
wants
I
to do a
know.
2-hour movie
Drives me
anymore.
nuts.
I just thought it was a rabbit cooking show.
Welch rabbit. Yeah.
No, it seems like there's a lot of series, but I guess they've had these all piled up and now there's a writer's strike, so that's probably good.
Yeah.
It'll take
Yeah,
a
and
while.
what I learned the other day is if you were a writer on a show like 3 Men and a Baby, or I don't know, whatever a sitcom is, and you've got a season that's 13 episodes and then it's multiple years and it gets into reruns, you could make a decent living. When you write 6 episodes of a miniseries that doesn't, it's out there and it's streamed and people binge it, it's gone. There's no residuals, and you are paid by the word and you're gone. So
Wow.
the new script writing, streaming world, so different for the writers, and that's what plus they've got a chat GPT AI breathing down their necks. Like
Mhm.
most of this could have been written by a robot. We just need you to finish it and polish it at the end. So we just need you to come in 2 days before we go into production. You know, that's a tough way to sustain a career.
Yeah.
But you know, they've got the whole landscape has changed. It used to be more long form. You think about something like Seinfeld. How many years there are probably writers on Seinfeld who have multiple car garages. They did so well. Not anymore. You know, everything is very short term and no residuals, no aftermarket money. So it's changed dramatically.
Yeah.
What's happened to late night TV? I don't stay up for it, but because I live. on
Oh,
the
there
West
is
Coast.
none. There's
on the West
Stephen
Coast.
Colbert, Seth
Washington,
Meyers,
right.
Jimmy Fallon. None of them are on anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, they're doing reruns, but there's no,
they're not topical. Yeah.
no,
The
it's all
the only one,
from
the
a
only
month
one
ago.
that's still, the only one that, as I understand it, that still has got writers working, and this is not going to surprise you, is the guy by the name of Gutfield on Fox News. I don't,
Oh.
I don't watch him, but I'm told they're still churning out scripts.
Is he a comic?
I'm sorry.
Does he do comedy?
Sort of, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
It's their version of I don't know.
Late night?
I don't watch it enough, but my sense is it's supposed to be sort of late night light Fox.
Huh.
Huh, never even heard
I know
of
the
it.
name, but I've never seen the show.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have been watching, but I don't think you guys would be interested, I don't think. Queen Charlotte. Now, supposedly there was a time when the
Rhonda Rhimes or Shimes or.
Shonda land, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shonda Rhimes. Yeah, and I
The
guess there was
Bridgerton,
supposedly a black queen of England. And this was Charlotte and George the Third, I think, George the Third. The Mad King, the one from the Revolution, the Mad King.
The Bridgerton.
Anyway,
Right?
so she just says, here's the facts, and I took a lot of, and she just does a lot of her own thing, and throws all kinds of stuff in there. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, interesting to me because, it's England, and it's it's all the pomp and the circumstance, and then this a black queen and a white king and all that. So it's interesting, but I don't know if you guys would like it, quite frankly. I don't know. Maybe.
Speaking of which, Mike, have you come down off of your euphoria from the coronation this weekend?
You know, I'm still watching the Spanish channel on it. The BBC just made me weep. So, if Charlotte were cast by Wanda Sykes, I might check that out.
Yeah. She'd be a great queen, that's for sure.
All right, so Sleepy Hollow.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Time.
who has the pick after next week?
Would it be Mattson? After Mahoney,
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
going
so.
alphabetically?
I will
Yeah.
alert him.
Okay.
All right, kids.
All right, gentlemen.
See you.
Have a good
Same
evening,
time.
everyone.
All right. Have a good week.
Okay.
That
Bye
was good.
all.
It was a good